So welcome once again to the cockpit of my Porsche 996. There's been a lot of work carried out on this car since its first introductory video, and it's starting to feel like the Porsche 911 sports car that it always should have been. But as ever, you're always browsing the classifieds to see what else is out there. And one particular car caught my eye, and it got me thinking, I know what a Porsche 996 sports car drives like, but what about a Porsche 996 race car? This is a championship-winning 911 race car owned by Paragon's Mark Sumpter, and it's road legal. Believe it or not, Mark's car started life as an identical car to my own, a humble 996 Gen 1 Carrera. Obviously, a monumental amount of work has gone into converting this from street to circuit spec, though the car does retain its 300-ish horsepower flat 6 and a H-Patterns G96 gearbox. So what's the story behind this crazy Carrera? Mark himself provides the details over a cuppa in the showroom at Paragon.
We'd been racing a 993 the previous year, and we sort of got excited about the 996 coming out and thought it would be great to be the first. We built it from a road car, and we bought the car new, left-hand drive, one of the really early cars from Stuttgart. I raced the car for 2 years, and then we got excited about the GT3R coming, and Mike and I did British GT for 2000. So I sold the car to a friend of mine, and he raced it for a couple of years, and it then got sold. So we sort of knew where it was for the first 5 or 6 years, and I think it went over to Ireland for a while. We lost touch with it, and then a couple of years ago we were racing 964s in Porsche Club, and struggling to keep up with the guys with their 996s. So we then sort of decided that if we wanted to have a winning car, we needed to either build a Cayman or a 996. By chance, I saw on Facebook that a old racing buddy of mine was selling his 996. So I bought it over the phone, sent Mike Jordan to go along and look at it, and Mike phoned me and said, "It's your 996." So yeah, he looked sort of under the dash and could see peppermint green and blue paint. We rebuilt it, going through the Porsche parts, fiche or book, and we basically bought, all of the important parts we bought new, and it gave us 100% reliability, which is how you win a championship. A lot of GT3 parts on this car, lower arms, top mounts, so you've got quite a lot of solid mounting where you'd have rubber in a street car. Fully adjustable anti-roll bars front and rear. Yeah, suspension is totally adjustable. The car holds about 14 litres of oil, which is double a standard car. It's got a deep sump, it's got the scavenge pumps on the cylinder heads, and we run a gearbox oil cooler, so again it adds to the capacity.
It's an amazing tale. Mark converted this car when it was just days old from left-hand drive to right and readied it for competitive action, where it took the title of the first 996 in the world to win a race. And what would the odds have been of buying that same car back years later by complete chance? It's unique stories like this which every Porsche person likes to hear about, fueled by passion and, in the strongest Stuttgart tradition, the need to go racing. It's far more colourful than that of any low numbers GT car you'll likely see for sale in the classifieds. Today, it's a mixture of familiar 996 road spec working alongside pure race car equipment. Spring rates are 4 times stiffer, it's seam welded, weighs 1220 kilos, has cup suspension, a racing LSD, and has a blueprinted engine built to Porsche Club Championship rules by renowned specialists Hartec. Mark even says it's easy to drive too, and is willing to prove his point by handing the keys over to a bumbling novice. Time to reveal the idiot. Now at this point you're probably expecting a driving appraisal of the car, yes? Well, so was I, but the raucousness of the 996 and some pretty awful acoustics returned this level of quality audio for us all to enjoy.
The short shift, so hopefully you can hear me. It's very, very loud.
It wasn't to be. But while I will comment shortly on what it's like to drive, I did discover a 911 race car is a tad more practical day to day than you might think.
Yeah, hi, can I just get one of your finest coffees, please? Ah, schoolboy error. No cup holders.
Joking aside, it's not particularly taxing to drive this car on the road, though it does require commitment. The engine and transmission are noisy, the ride is hilariously bumpy, and the aggressive steering wants to battle your forearms as it seeks to pull you this way and that into every crevice of the road surface. This is a race car though, and a championship winning one at that, so the payoff is you're getting the most raw 911 driving experience imaginable from the seat of a modern classic. Right, so while we're stopped and having a bit of a breather, now's a good chance to relay a few extra details on this car that you might not otherwise be able to hear while I'm driving. So as you can see, this car has had the most comprehensive pairing back imaginable. Absolutely everything that isn't useful for the purpose of racing has been ditched. The shifter has been raised up, and although the ratios are the same as the G96 gearbox in my road car, for example, the shift is now much shorter. It's a super sweet motion through the gate in this. I can't actually think of a better shift in any 911 I've ever had. The lower sense console remains, but instead of all the heating options you had, that's all been ditched essentially in favour for one or two buttons that are quite crucial. You've got a heated screen, you've got a fan, power assisted steering as well, all useful stuff. The radio has been ditched, obviously. In its place we've got a few extra dials, oil pressure, oil temperature and water temperature. Then you've got the fire extinguisher system, which I am not going to touch and I hope I'm not going to need. It really is incredible to think that this car once upon a time was exactly the same specification as my 996 Carrera. Obviously there's a hell of a lot of additional engineering and money spent to get the car to this level. How much? Well, you are talking six figures, which is a hell of a lot of money for a 996 in anyone's book. That's why it's better to buy a car that's already been done. The whole expense in building this car has already taken place. Your job after purchase now is to run it. Right, better get back before Mark thinks I've crashed his car. Procedure for starting, fairly simple. On button, turn key, and we're off. The next chapter of this road legal race car is ready to be written by somebody else, and it represents great value at half the cost of a Gen 1 991 GT3. It's an interesting proposition, it has to be said, particularly if you're after the purest of drives from a Focus 911. This is a road-based 996 in its ultimate form, held back by nothing, except, as ever, our good friends at the local Speedwatch Brigade. God bless them.